Following a series of high-profile attacks in the United States that culminated in the Colonial Pipeline ransomware attack, US President Joe Biden recently issued what many felt was long overdue federal guidance on cybersecurity. Cybersecurity is a really big problem. According to the Center for Strategic and International Studies, global cybercrime costs reached nearly $1 trillion in 2020. Biden's initiative aims to modernize and implement stronger cybersecurity standards within the federal government, improve software supply chain security, establish a cybersecurity safety review board, and improve detection of cybersecurity incidents on federal government networks. So how does this all get done? One answer may have come from north of the border. Founded in 2018, Plurilock originated from a small team of researchers at the University of Victoria who discovered a novel technique for biometric identity verification. Today, Plurilock offers biometric technology and machine learning that rely on movement and time, not on yet more layers of credentials. Ian L. Paterson, a serial entrepreneur, was founder and CEO of Tsxv, a data monetization marketplace. Before that, he led the enterprise data science division at venture-backed analytics firm Terapeak, which was later acquired by eBay. Today, Mr. Paterson is CEO of Plurilock. He now joins us to talk about cybersecurity in 2021 and where his company fits in. Welcome, Ian. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Great to be here, Justine. Thank you.
Ian, so share a little bit about the backstory of your company. It was started in 2016, I understand.
Correct. Plurilock started as a result of some novel research at a university in Western Canada. We had a team of foremost experts in the world at being able to recognize people based on their digital behavior. If you think about it, human behavior is actually unique to all of us, and that behavior becomes a key that we can use to unlock our computer systems. And so the genesis of Plurilock was the spin out and then commercialization of that technology.
Okay, and let's talk about cybersecurity now. There's been a lot of talk about cybersecurity in light of these high-profile attacks in the United States, but also with so many of us working from home as well.
Absolutely. Cybersecurity is a linchpin industry. In other words, if you care about any industry, whether that's healthcare, whether that's critical infrastructure, as we saw with the Colonial attack, even if you care about food security, as we saw with the most recent JBS meat attack, where as a result of a cybersecurity incident, it actually impacted the ability for food to be delivered downstream. Effectively, cyber touches and impacts all downstream industries. And so as a result, really is one of the most critical areas of focus for technology today.
Okay, and Plurilock uses behavioral biometrics and also machine learning to enhance cybersecurity. How do these things work together on a practical basis?
So when you're logging into your computer, generally you're going to log in with a password. That technology hasn't really changed much since the 1960s. What Plurilock is doing is we're actually using the way that you type on a keyboard, the way that you move your mouse, as a form of biometrics. It's called behavioral biometrics. And that behavior, in conjunction with our artificial intelligence, allows us to lock or unlock those devices in real time as you're going about your daily work. So typical customer for us, we would sell to a mid-sized business, and we would be protecting the employees of that business. And rather than just relying on traditional passwords, which, as we've seen, again, similar in the Colonial attack, can easily be stolen, even if somebody steals your password when you're using Plurilock's technology, we would be able to recognize that you're not the authorized person because your behavior is different.
And so what is this experience like for a user? Like, is it seamless? Would I notice that this technology is in place?
Generally speaking, no, you're not going to notice the technology is in place. And in fact, one of our key value metrics is we want to be able to reduce friction for employees throughout the day. So again, think about how often you have to log into websites, or how often you have to get a frustrating text message to your phone with that code that you have to rush to type in within a minute. Plurilock actually replaces that. And in a lot of cases, we can reduce the number of either logins or what we call multi-factor authentication step-ups, those times where you get those text messages. So as a value proposition, what we're saying to the users of our product is, hey, let's actually reduce friction during your day and let's make you more effective at doing whatever it is you're trying to do.
And is there a typical customer for your offerings?
I'd say that a mid-sized regulated institution would certainly be what we'd consider an ideal customer for us. Somebody with hundreds of employees that, at a minimum or thousands beyond that. And generally speaking, they're going to be in a regulated industry. So that could be finance, it could be healthcare, it could also be government. But generally speaking, we fit best when we're at the intersection of both a security need as well as a regulatory need to have to deploy cybersecurity software like ours.
And how large is Plurilock's total addressable market?
Well, it's an interesting question. If you look at cybersecurity today, the most recent estimates is that in 2021, there will be approximately $6 trillion in damages just from cybersecurity attacks. Now, that's going to be encompassing all cybersecurity attacks across the globe. The other way that you could look at this is to look at the total in cybersecurity spending, and that's estimated to be approximately $1 trillion over the next 5 years cumulatively. So really, any way you slice it, cybersecurity is just a massive opportunity that demands the latest innovations in order to remain safe against today's threats.
So it sounds like you're kind of in a good position to kind of tap into this market.
I would say so, yes.
Okay, and how does Plurilock actually make money? Is there a recurring revenue aspect to it?
Plurilock sells recurring revenue software. And so we have two products today. We have a product called Plurilock Adapt, which is our initial sign-in product. And we have Plurilock Defend. This is our continuous authentication product. Plurilock Adapt and Defend cost between $3 and $9 per employee per month or per user per month. And that's charged on an ongoing annual contract that recurs automatically.
And you may have touched on this a little bit earlier, but what are your solutions typically replacing? Is it the multi-factor authentication and passwords?
So it depends a little bit on the company. Certainly, we could be a replacement for existing authentication solutions or existing MFA solutions. The identity and access management market is quite large. There's a number of vendors there. But I think that the other common reason that Plurilock gets deployed is that most people are working remotely today, and there's really not a good way of getting good visibility into who's on the other end of that device. When you're working in an office, it's actually pretty straightforward because you have most people will go in through a lobby, you have a guard at the lobby, maybe a turnstile, you have a pass card that you use to get into the elevator and up, and then maybe a physical key to get into your office environment. Well, with everybody working from home, you don't have any of those controls, or what we call physical controls, to validate that it's the right person who has access to the hardware. And so Plurilock is a really good replacement for the absence of those security controls. One way of thinking about Plurilock's technology is if you consider just an analogy about a regular house. Most people have a lock on their front door. But once you unlock that front door and you get into the house, most people don't have any additional security. Plurilock, in comparison, would be like if you had the lock on the front door, you walked in, you had motion sensors throughout the house, and you had another lock on every subsequent door that you tried to enter, but it was only locked if you weren't the authorized person. If you were the authorized person, motion sensors wouldn't matter, and those locks on the doors you wouldn't even notice. So that's kind of the comparison when thinking about our proprietary technology.
Okay, thank you for painting that picture. It really gives you a sense of what your business is. And you recently acquired California-based Aurora Systems Consulting. Do you plan to grow organically or more through acquisition?
Well, both. So Aurora was a company in Southern California, very well respected in the industry. In 2020, they had revenues of approximately $35 million. And so we feel that it was an excellent addition to the Plurilock family. We really see Plurilock today as two distinct divisions. We have the Plurilock Technology Division, which was the core business that we've been talking about so far. We also have a Plurilock Solutions Division, which is the Aurora business. Now, Aurora had tremendous access to customers, approximately 140 customers in 2020, and those included customers like the US Army, US Navy, and then a number both in state and commercial within Southern California. And so we really see that that's tremendous distribution for our proprietary technology. And so we believe that the way that we're going to realize value is by cross-selling our high margin recurring revenue products through that distribution arm that Aurora has and represents. Now, to your question about our go forward, absolutely, we intend to grow both organically as well as inorganically. And so that's definitely going to be a key mandate for us over the next 24 months.
Okay. And then another topic that just came out is that you recently announced the filing of 2 provisional patent applications with the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office. What does your IP look like?
It's a good question. I think if you boil it down, Plurilock has a unique advantage today in being able to recognize people based on their behavior. Now, we're the front runners in this category today. We already have 3 existing issued U.S. patents, and we've buttressed that with an additional 3 provisional patents that we have filed. And this is really to establish our competitive moat and prevent competitors from being able to replicate what we have already developed. And so certainly that intellectual property becomes a competitive advantage for us as we move forward and continue to scale.
Okay, and you're talking about moving forward. What can we expect from your team in 2021?
Well, I think as we mentioned, Plurilock is very focused on growth, both organically and inorganically. And certainly we're hopeful that there's going to be other great targets similar to Aurora that would make sense to bring into the Plurilock family.
Okay, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. I hope to be back soon.
That was Ian L. Paterson, CEO of Plurilock. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time.